All right, just call it a terror campaign that is online and viral. ISIS using hashtag Stephen's head in Obama's hands to tweet very alarming pictures, complete with captions, reading that President Obama's next move will decide American journalist Steven Sotloff's fate. These messages, among many others from ISIS, popping up all over social media. But should there be something social media, including Twitter, should do to stop it? To our Fox Biz All-Stars, Lizzie McDonald, Mark Serrano, and Scott Martin. Scott, what do you think?
It's scary, Neil. I mean, you think about the proliferation of social media and the use of it by these terror organizations to spread hate, to intimidate, and I think even more frighteningly, Neil, to recruit. Think about the eyeballs that these organizations are now getting. I mean, think about the kids that may be misguided that read this stuff, or the disgruntled adult that sees this and maybe says, hey, I've got an identification with these guys. I think that's really the scary thing. And what can these social media networks or outlets do to prevent it? Not very much.
I would think they can, Mark. I mean, just say, this is sick, this is bizarre. No.
Yes and no. They can delete accounts. But, you know, these terrorists are very savvy. I mean, this is like millennials are in their rank and file. So they know how to utilize very sophisticated methods to permeate the internet through these social platforms with their content.
But does Twitter, any of these sites, does he know the source of this material?
You know, that's the question. Law enforcement contends that they possibly do know the source. So the question is Twitter a virtual town square, or is it a news feed? I would argue it's virtual town square. We do have hate talk, that we're policing against hate talk. So how do you stop it? We've seen Facebook rejigger its algorithm to, you know, retweak its news feed. So the question is, can Twitter do it to stop it? You know, Margaret Thatcher said publicity is vital as oxygen to terrorists. And you got to say to yourself, they are so deep into the social media sites right now.
If they have free access to do what they want for a limited time, even some of these videos that reportedly showed Foley's tragic beheading, it wasn't until much later that you know, a lot of these sites just stopped showing it or removed the video. But the damage was done, and it's still out there. So, Scott, it seems to me that any, you know, ill-thinking terrorist knows he or she has a 48-hour period by which to pound out that message, right?
And that message gets well received, Neil. And we're talking about Facebook and Twitter and some of the big media sites, but there's LiveLeak, there's Daily Motion, there's all kind of these sites that, think about your kids, that the sites that these kids go to say circumvent their plans and showing you them. You know, the ways that kids get online with WhatsApp and Snapchat that are out there to basically avoid you finding out what they're doing. I mean, it's the same thing that these terrorist organizations are doing. They're using other sites that are, frankly, off the radar, but still seeing eyeballs.
And the cross-tagging is the key.
Yeah.
They're cross-tagging using very popular hashtags
and
handles.
Can you do that? In other words, you go to popular, let's say Ferguson was a big deal last week.
Yeah.
That you hashtag anything to Ferguson and do another
that's
tag along that?
That's how the content gets untethered. Right, because
so it crosses to
but
social
should there be?
sites.
I'm the last person who would advise controlling content on the internet and all. But I'm wondering, is there a way to even oversee that, or does that risk more harm?
You know, the question is, Twitter's a business, right? And so, but they don't get a lot of ad revenue from overseas, just about a quarter of it, right? So I'll tell you something. They do get a lot of monthly active users. The majority of those guys are overseas. So, but the question is, will it hurt Twitter's business to censor this? You got to say to yourself, maybe not, because it could alienate other users who see this on their feeds and they don't want it, they don't like it, and they want ISIS
Mark?
shut
What would
down.
you do?
Right, so they've got a corporate social responsibility here is how you would define it. And so they can leave it alone, but if otherwise their brand is going to be tied to terrorism. So they've got to step up their game, and they may want to...
But how would you stop it? Remove this tying onto hashtags?
No, I mean, you can't do that unilaterally.
Right?
So there's a degree to which they're only going to have so much control because this content gets untethered. Photos and videos and the hashtags and text content, it gets very untethered. So they are limited as to what they can do.
And that's what gives ISIS the ability to recruit from all over the world, including Americans.
And look, this is no longer the image of a terrorist hiding out in the caves of Afghanistan like after 9/11. Now it's more of a corporate entity with millennials working from laptops all over the world.
Scary stuff. Guys, final word on that one. Thank you very much.